Welcome to the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens. I'm Vivian Ecclefield, and together we're about to take a very special tour of this world-famous attraction.
We'll go behind the scenes and meet some of the staff members and volunteers who help make this such a special place. We'll introduce you to some of the Living Desert's residents, then go inside their exhibit to see the world from their point of view. We'll catch the peak season for cactus blooms and desert wildflowers, mingle with the meerkats, and meet a cheetah.
We've got a lot to see, so come along as we explore the amazing Living Desert Zoo and Gardens.
Here at the Living Desert, all the beautiful and fascinating features of the world's deserts come together. The botanical gardens replicate 10 North American desert regions. Visitors can experience the different environments by strolling leisurely down the walkways, riding aboard the tram, or by private chauffeur. Education is one of the cornerstones of the Living Desert's mission to foster conservation of threatened desert habitats. Each year, hundreds of volunteers and docents help the staff achieve this goal. Nature walks, school tours, special exhibits for the sight impaired, and critter close-ups are all part of their effort to reach as wide an audience as possible. In the Discovery Room, visitors are treated to a hands-on experience.
This is a saguaro boot. When a bird pecks a hole in a cactus, like this hole up here, this is what gets left over. It's like the scab material when you hurt yourself. And long after the saguaro is gone, you can find these boots out in the desert. Would you like to hold it? Would that make a good home for a bird? Imagine you're out in the desert, it's up high, it's protected, because it's a nice, safe, cool place to live.
The Living Desert cares for over 400 animals, representing 152 species from deserts around the world.
I failed to mention
The Wildlife Wonder shows are some of the park's most popular attractions.
Those large paws might help her to walk across loose or sandy soil. These are found in various parts. In our Wildlife Wonder show, we like to display some of the animals' natural behaviors. And this is Hudson, and he is a Harris hawk. Doing a bit of training session right now with him.
All right. Now, when you talk about training, you don't really mean it in the sense that we usually think of it, right? You try to keep their behaviors more natural?
Yes, it's none of this old-fashioned chairs and things like that, like you might have seen in the circus a long time ago. We use natural behaviors we want to teach them. We also use nothing but positive reinforcement. Notice how the trainers have little pieces of treats for him. Basically, all of his goodies are little pieces of mouse, obviously his natural food. And so we make it a lot of fun for him too, and we make it a nice and enjoyable something for the audience to look at, and something that he's also going to want to do too.
And it's the kind of thing that he would do if he were in his own habitat, right?
Exactly. He would be flying low over the brush looking for things like jackrabbits and things like that. So it's a beautiful thing to watch too. This is Sabi, and she's our 8-month-old cheetah.
Oh my.
Can you hear her purring?
Gorgeous.
And she sounds pretty content, if you ask me, with the purring. And here comes her companion animal, Henry.
Now, what do you mean by companion animal?
Well, if this cheetah were out in the wild, she would still be with her siblings. And so if you've seen cheetahs and other such animals on television, you might have seen when they're babies, they do a lot of playing when they're together. So Henry is a playmate for her because they get to spend all day playing with each other. She came here when she was only a few weeks old, so we finished bottle raising her so we could start to form the bond with people. And we spend a lot of time with her, so she has a bond with her trainers, and she has a nice bond with Henry because she gets to play with Henry all day long. Henry's also something of a security blanket. You can imagine that if these two were going to go to a new environment, which we hope they will do as ambassador animals, that Sabi, being a wild animal, she might not be as comfortable as a domestic dog would going to a brand new location. Hopefully she will look to Henry and say, you know what, it's okay with Henry, it's not too bad. And so you can see they're doing a really nice job today. These two animals will be going out and educating the public. They also already do some educating the public here at the Living Desert, but they also are going to be going to schools and doing all kinds of special VIP programs and, and hopefully to allow people to gain awareness of the cheetah's plight out in the wild, because they are an endangered species.
Next on our tour, we took our camera to the top of the Bighorn Sheep exhibit. The spectacular view from up here is a treat that usually only they get to enjoy. Indigenous to the Coachella Valley, the desert bighorn sheep is a striking symbol of the tenacity it takes to survive in this arid climate. One of the most active residents in the African animals section is the meerkat, a member of the mongoose family found in South African desert regions. We brought our camera inside their exhibit to get a closer look at these feisty little mammals. Live mealworms are one of their favorite treats. Don't try this at home. The Living Desert pioneered the concept of landscape immersion in botanical gardens, which allows visitors to walk through full-scale replicas of distinct desert regions. This strange, otherworldly environment contains a profusion of fascinating plant life from the unique botanical ecosystem of Madagascar.
Well, hi, Kirk.
Hi, Vivian.
Say, this is quite the unique garden. This is marvelous. Now, why a Madagascar representation?
Well, many people might not know, but there's quite an arid area in Madagascar in the southwest and all along the west coast and even a bit up in the northwest.
Huh. Is it really that much more unique than, say, the other desert regions that are represented here?
Yeah, in fact, all of Madagascar is almost entirely unique. 80% of the plant material is found nowhere but Madagascar.
Oh my gosh. Say, what's in the envelope?
Well, I was collecting some seed pods off one of the species of Uncarinas we have in the garden. That's the yellow flowered tree behind us. And they also call it a harpoon pod because of at the tip of the spines they have barbs that jet backwards, and anything that gets in there is securely snagged.
Oh my gosh. And you know, something else I couldn't help but notice, these rocks are incredible. What's the story behind them?
Well, they have a twofold purpose in here, aesthetic value and functional value. We put them in, we wanted to create a little canyon for people to meander in and get back to the Palm Oasis, and a little place to get away, a little pocket garden. So we used the rocks to hold back the sandy berms we created to make the little canyon effect. And secondly, the dark color in the wintertime with the southern orientation, we hope that it acts as a heat sink in absorbing heat during the day and thereby releasing it at night, and create a little bit of a warmer environment for the plants here that are not used to freezing temperatures at all.
How interesting.
Our next stop is Village Watutu, a recreation of a traditional African village. Camels, hyenas, and leopards hang out here, and a petting corral gives visitors a hands-on experience. These animals don't mind their many visitors, and some crave the extra attention. But there's a good reason why the public isn't invited during feeding time. Even the staff knows better than to get between these voracious critters and their next meal.
Well, Amy, I can see why this is one of the most popular spots here in the Living Desert.
Yep. Not only do we provide our guests with the opportunity to pet our animals in this place, but we're also teaching people about rare breeds of Africa.
Now, what's a rare breed?
A rare breed is kind of the same thing as an endangered animal, but it's for domestic breeds. So these guys are all rare breeds, meaning that as opposed to the industrialized breeds that you have in America, these are very old-fashioned, very old-style breeds that are dying out. These guys are all in trouble.
Is that right?
Yep. So not only do we have Nigerian dwarf goats out here, we have Jacob sheep.
Yeah. Oh, they're fat. They've been eating good.
Yeah, they eat good. And these guys are full grown. They are dwarf goats. This is as big as they're going to get. We do have some other goats that are larger. Those are Nubian goats.
And then you've got a new calf, don't you?
Yeah, we have a baby. Yep.
Yeah.
Born last Tuesday, a little male Ankoli, which is another rare breed.
That's great. The kids have to love this.
Yes.
What other species do you have here in Village Watutu?
In addition to all these domestics, we also have the exotic species of Africa, endangered animals. And directly across from us, one of the other exhibits we have is a striped hyena research and breeding center where we hold striped hyenas, one of the 4 hyena species in the world. And we have 1 male and 1 female. It's a wonderful exhibit with a breeding area, 2 viewing vestibules that are glass for the public, and not only that, the public in the summer, we actually blow air conditioning on the public, so they're as comfortable as the animals.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
And then there's also a leopard exhibit?
Yep. Our leopard exhibit is actually part of our DC House compound, and the DC House stands for the District Commissioner's House. And the District Commissioner's House is available for rental in the evening for catered events. So we've had weddings out there, bridal showers, all sorts of events, anniversary parties, and it's a fantastic place because if it's in the evening, we can spotlight the exhibit so you can see the leopards in the evening, which is when they display some of their most unusual behavior.
The Eagle Canyon Wildlife Exhibit is an exciting recreation of a remote desert canyon populated with wild animals. Here, visitors walk through rugged terrain and encounter animals in natural settings. Reno the mountain lion is one of the Living Desert's most popular residents, and he really enjoys watching the parade of visitors. His natural space and stimulating environment has helped Reno become the oldest mountain lion in captivity. Sometimes the staff intervenes with their own ideas to increase stimulation and activity. During my visit, Kim Clark explained how animal enrichment is an important component of animal care.
Jesse's bringing out a cardboard box, and hidden inside the cardboard box is one of Reno's favorite treats.
What's that?
A hard-boiled egg. And the reason we're doing this is basically it's our obligation to provide not only good physical health for our animals, but we also need to stimulate them and keep them mentally healthy as well. So rather than just giving Reno a bowl of food every day, we make him work for his food.
I see.
So when he comes out, what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to realize that, hey, there's a cardboard box out there. Not only do I like to rip up cardboard boxes, but if I use my sense of smell, there's a treat in there. So he has to use his sense of smell to discover the treat, and then he has to figure out how to get the cardboard box open so that he can get the treat.
Now, he's not ever going back to the wild, so what's the whole purpose of making him go through all that?
Basically, if an animal is physically healthy and mentally healthy, they live a lot longer. They have a lot fewer medical problems. They digest their food better. If it was a breeding situation, they would breed better. They'd be able to raise their offspring on their own better. It's amazing what the physical and mental health of an animal, the benefits that it can have.
Wow. Oh, here he is now.
And here comes Reno.
Oh, look at that.
See, he already knows there's something in there. Cats have a very good sense of smell. And there was also, he cheated. There's a little bit of egg on the top there, I see.
Yeah.
But normally he can get into boxes pretty fast.
Now, do you do it the same way every time?
No, we do something different. Large paper bags he really likes. When we get really big boxes, like you get a refrigerator comes in, then those he really loves because he can get his whole body inside them. And you can see he's eating his box.
He's going for it.
Yeah. Now, hard-boiled eggs is obviously not something he would normally find in the wild, but he would certainly eat raw eggs if he found a nest, a bird nest on the ground. Quail, they nest on the ground, that kind of thing. So he would certainly not be miss the opportunity to eat an egg in the wild. It just wouldn't be a hard-boiled egg.
Now, how did you come up with the whole idea of like doing the box thing? What's the idea there?
Zoos have been doing animal enrichment for many, many years, and it's just becoming more of an issue now because we realize how important mental stimulation is. And so there's numerous newsletters that are available so that zoos just exchange different enrichment ideas and what they've done. We also have an enrichment committee here at the Living Desert, the zoo curator, supervisor, and 4 keepers, and we get together about once a month and we come up with different ideas, different things that we can use to try and enrich the animals. There are cats like caracals and servals that in the wild they catch birds right out of the air that are flying. So what we'll do is we'll hang their mice or their quail, whatever food they're getting, we'll hang it from the ceiling so they have to actually jump up in the air and snag it before they can eat it. For animals that like to dig, like some of the foxes, we'll bury their food. And so then they have to hunt around and smell for it with their great sense of smell, and then they have to dig it up.
Oh, he's beautiful, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
At the next stop on our tour, Matt Estrin took us inside the African wild dog enclosure before the animals were released from their sleeping quarters.
So Matt, what factors went into your design of this exhibit?
Well, there's two primary design focuses that I use. One is the public's experience. The other one is the animal's experience, how the animals react with their exhibit and their surroundings. Here at the Wild Dog exhibit, we wanted to bring the public down into the exhibit. And so this glass panel, 7/8 of an inch thick, so it's a double laminate, so that way if in case we do have a break in it, we still have a physical barrier so that the dogs are secure in their holding, the people are secure on their side.
What a great feeling. I mean, you're here, you're right in the exhibit.
Absolutely. The wild dogs will come and walk right around the base of the glass, so you're really close up with them. And they're such a beautiful animal. It's a great opportunity to show.
Now then, what about from the animal's point of view here?
The animal's point of view, we did a lot with the exhibit. One of the main predominant features is the rock work. This is all artificial rock, hand-carved concrete, and
That's
then
hard to
painted out.
believe.
Yeah, they do a wonderful job with it. And then we have this den in here. The wild dogs need to have some shade, especially in the summers. And so they'll tuck themselves. The concrete of the rock work makes it a little cooler as well. In addition to that, some other features of the exhibit, we have it layered so that way this exhibit, the wild dogs, and the Arabian oryx behind it all flow together. So that the public sees it as one large exhibit, making them kind of think that those two animals are in with each other. And for the wild dog's perspective, they need to have that stimulation of prey species nearby. They can smell them, they can see them. There's a certain level of stress that is good for them.
That's interesting.
Enrichment.
What is it about that stress and that they need?
Well, it keeps them active. If there's nothing to do, you end up laying around, and dogs sleep all day in general.
Oh, I see.
We have some breeding structures in the back. Let's go take a look at them.
Great.
So these here are breeding dens. The breeding dens are important because the wild dogs are challenging to get to breed. They need to really feel like they're in their own element. That goes back to the exhibit itself, making them feel comfortable. Well, when they're breeding, when they're actually whelping their pups, they need to feel comfortable as well, because the pups won't make it if they're not in a secure place. In the wild, it's too dangerous for a female to have pups if it's an insecure environment, there's not enough food. So they have to feel good to be able to breed successfully.
Now, what do you have to do here to make that happen?
Well, these dens that we have are off exhibit, and that is intentional so that they have their privacy, since they are so delicate when they're weaning their babies. So right here we have the entrance into their den structure. This is to feel like a little hole in the ground, actually in the bank of a wash. And so from when they go in that door, they go up a ramp, they make a right-hand turn and drop down into a whelping den.
Oh, right over here.
Right over
I
there.
see.
In there, that area is filled up with dirt so that the female can take all the dirt, move it around, and make a nice little home for her babies.
Next on our tour is a visit to the butterfly garden. The butterfly garden was created to attract butterflies and help sustain their life cycle.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. Looks like you've got a project here.
Yeah, we're putting in a new plant for our butterfly garden.
Good.
This is a butterfly bush called Buddleia marubifolia.
Oh my gosh. That's quite a name.
Yeah,
And do all the plants here attract butterflies?
most of them do. Butterflies are attracted to plants that have open flowers or staminate flowers, and the reason is they need a landing pad. They need somewhere where they can land on the flower in order to take up the nectar.
I see. And then are there certain plants that attract certain butterflies?
Yes, there are. Different butterflies are attracted to different plants and also different times of the year. For instance, we have an Asclepia here in the garden that butterflies are attracted to for laying their eggs. It's a host plant for their eggs, and it attracts monarch butterflies to lay their eggs.
Well, I noticed that you're using a drip system. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, drip systems put water right at the base of the plant, near the roots, which is where they need water, and they're much more efficient than if you use a sprinkler system, which evaporates very quickly in the desert. And also, each emitter is calibrated to emit a certain amount of water per hour, 1 gallon or 2 gallons. So it's a specific amount of water that's distributed to the plant.
Now, speaking of water, I don't think these are accidents, are they? These little ponds over here?
No, we put these in, Butterflies also need a standing water source, and so we put in these little ponds so that they could have a place to come and drink. And they don't actually land on the water, but they land along the side. And at the same time they're taking up water, they also take up minerals. So they need minerals and water.
And then is there a drip system that's maintaining this as well?
There is actually a little fill that fills this pond, and each pond also has a drain in it so that if we decide we need to clean it out, we can do that as well.
Now it's the blooms that are really important to the butterflies, isn't it?
Yes. Flowers for butterflies are their food source. It's where they get their nectar, their sugar, and as I said before, they're attracted to plants with open flowers, and different times of the year, different plants will be in bloom, and so there's a constant food source for several months here for butterflies.
Well, everything's in bloom right now.
It sure is, yeah. We're here during the spring, and it's the time in the desert when we have most plants blooming, just as in other areas, it's the same way. The desert has a season, just like other areas. And springtime from about February and through June is a good time for plants to be in bloom.
The Tennessee Wildlife Hospital was designed to offer the highest quality medical care to the Living Desert's animal collection. Here, visitors can see firsthand how veterinarians and animal handlers help the zoo's residents to live healthy and happy lives. These are wild animals, so most are anesthetized to make them more comfortable during examinations and other procedures.
This is Becky, our badger. She's in here for her yearly physical exam. We're just getting her weight on her, which is 7.2 kilograms. And we're going to take her over and get her started taking blood and doing a general physical exam.
What kinds of things are you looking for?
Basically just assessing her overall health. One thing that Becky's had problems with in the past is her weight, so we try to keep a really close eye on that. She's doing better than she has in the past, but I'd like to see her a little bit lighter than she is right now. She still feels a touch heavy. Usually when they're coming out of winter, they put on extra fat to stay warm, but since we're starting into our summer season, she really needs to start losing some of this fat.
Oh, I see.
So we've got our EKG on, so we're just checking the heart right now, and the heart looks really good. And we can take these and actually save these. We can freeze these frames, and it'll stop like that, and I can download that into a computer, and I can save that from year to year, and then if we start to see subtle changes over the next few years, we know that she may be having a heart problem. So we're able to collect this data and keep it over a long period of time, and then also compare it to other badgers that we may get in the future.
I see. You know, the great thing about this hospital, one of the best things, is the fact that the public can watch.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
That's really special. It's nice to be able to interact. They can sit there and watch what we're doing. They can ask questions over the microphone. Sometimes I'll be answering the questions. Sometimes my technician, Sarah, will be. Sometimes the animal supervisor will be answering the questions. Depends on what we're doing. We also have a camera overhead here that I can see on my monitor here, and they have a monitor out there, so that if I'm walking around the table, getting in front of them so they can't see, they still have a view from the monitor they can watch, so we're never really getting away. Sometimes we lean over and block that camera too, but then they can still see what we're doing from the front.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It seems like the whole hospital has a real innovative approach, you know, from what we've seen in the past with other animal hospitals.
Yeah, this hospital is very, it's unique, and it's also just technologically advanced. Veterinary medicine as a whole has changed over the past years and becoming more and more technical in things we can do. And this hospital has allowed us to do that in a zoo setting.
Undoubtedly, the most unusual garden at the Living Desert isn't really a garden, but it continues to grow and has become one of the most popular exhibits. Would you believe the longest wooden train trestle in the world is right here?
Actually, it's a G-gauge train trestle, but very impressive nevertheless. Joe, I understand that you and your whole crew built all of this?
Yeah, it was a crew of volunteers, 3 or 4 gentlemen, 7 days a week, about 8 weeks, 9 weeks to do it. We've applied to Guinness to establish this as a world record for the G-gauge train. It's 201 feet, 8 inches long, and as far as we know, it outshines anything that's out there by at least 100 feet.
Great. What do you have here?
I have the latest donation to the railway from a private collector. People come in once in a while and donate cars and people and trains and so forth for us, and it's great to have him get involved with us.
Where does he go?
He's going to go with our Indio Railway Express agency.
Oh, let's put him there now.
Okay.
Wow, look at the detail. My gosh.
This again has all been built by some of our volunteers. Next to our Indio station is, as I said, the Railway Express, and since he has packages on the back, we'll go ahead and put him there.
Okay.
But another piece of history that we have here on the layout is the Indio station. It goes from very early 1900s until about the mid-60s, when unfortunately it burnt to the ground from a fire.
Now tell me the connection though between all of this and the Coachella Valley.
Basically, the Coachella Valley had a good jump start because of the railroad. It came in late 1800s, early 1900s. It started working with the Salton Mine Company down, which is the bottom of the Salton Sea right now. They would haul salt out, and it brought food, products, and so forth into the valley, and then it did the produce for a very long time. Sure. We still have the Salad Bowl Express that comes out of the San Fernando Valley and comes through and goes into Florida. That's right. So trains are still a very, very big part of the valley, and I'm sure that they always will be. Vivian, let's take you inside to an area that not a lot of people get to see. It's what we call the cave.
Well, I can see why. Oh, wow. What a space.
This is the inside of our European layout, which we have converted to being our inside storage area and work area. Wow. It's pretty empty now because we have the trains out on the layout. We can hold 6 trains here. I have between 25 and 30 locomotives that I can add or subtract from the layout. Some of them have the old analog sound system in them that it's reasonably close. But most of the trains nowadays have gone digital, which is right on the money. They just sound so terrific.
They really do. How many trains?
All in all, if you add what I 35 trains we can run.
And how many run at one time?
I run generally 1 on the main line, and then on the other lines we call our logging and our mine line, we run 2 each up there. So there's 5 trains running on an average day. When European is in full swing, we have 9 to 12 trains running. We keep pretty busy keeping these going. We like to think of it as the real thing, even though we're just a bunch of kids having a good time.
During the fall holiday season, the train garden becomes the centerpiece of a spectacular wonderland. Here, the magic of the holidays comes to life in a blaze of color. The Living Desert's annual Wild Lights event has become a desert tradition for many. The Living Desert has a long history of progress from its modest beginnings. This private, nonprofit organization has thrived under the guidance of its board of trustees and with the strong support of donors and members. Karen Sossman has been the park's director from its inception. She and her staff have a vision that includes a range of exciting exhibits planned for the future.
No, we're good. Great.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
Nice to see you.
It's good to be here.
It looks like the park is expanding.
Always, always expanding. You know, we've always got something to do. We've been doing things since 1970. We keep at it.
Wow, so what is the expansion plan?
The expansion is for giraffe. We're going to give our giraffes a bigger home, several acres savanna, dryland savanna, ostrich, other kinds of gazelles, and then eventually black rhino, lions, crocodiles down in the pond. Going to be fun. Got lots of things all through here going to be happening. That's where the crocs are going to go, and clawless otters, and then wraps back all the way to a lion. So it's going to be great.
Now you started this, the Living Desert, single-handedly, what, 1970 you said?
1970.
Did you foresee all of this?
Sort of, sure. I knew that there were deserts all over the world, and I wanted to get people excited about desert, to create an awareness and appreciation in people for what the desert's all about. I mean, we all grow up thinking it's a wasteland, that there's nothing here. And so our job is to help people really understand what an incredible, diverse, interesting habitat desert is, whether it's North American, Australian, African. It's all very special. We know that there's a lot of work to be done in conservation and in desert conservation. 1/7 of the globe is desert, so there's a lot of work to do.
The Living Desert Zoo and Gardens continues to evolve and promises to become an even more interesting experience in years to come. I hope you've enjoyed the tour. We'll see you again soon.